Hi, Barry. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from London. I know it's nighttime for you right now. What time is it there?
It's only 9 o'clock.
Oh, good. Okay.
Nine
So,
o'clock on a muggy London evening where Furnace Friday turned into Downpour Friday.
ouch. Well, thanks so much after a long day like that, fitting us in.
No
Um,
problem.
so, you and I have spent a lot of time over the last 12 weeks being two of the main instructors of our 12-week certificate in spiritual entrepreneurship course. And as you know, we're getting ready to launch another one, September 24th. And I just want to talk a little bit about why we're doing this and why we're venturing into this new emerging discipline of spiritual entrepreneurship and actually the promise of it and why it's needed, we believe, more now than ever. So not a tall order, just, in 5 minutes to just, answer those little tiny simple questions.
Oh, yeah, easy.
Easy.
Well, we, I think we just really became increasingly aware that we needed new concepts, new ways of thinking, new ways of looking at the whole scenario, not just the state of the church and stuff like that, but the way in which things intersect in the 21st century and what the ramifications of that are for anybody involved in whether it's ministry in a formal way or informal stuff, or generally interested in theology or making some kind of a venture in their life for the common good and for the well-being of humanity. And we sort of realized that maybe there was an opportunity to kind of combine a few different disciplines in a unique way to craft a sort of visionary way of thinking about life, a new lens to look at church and religion and stuff like that. So we put together this 12-week course, as you know, because you were part of that putting together, that dealt with a lot of issues from a new angle.
Yeah. And we talk about spiritual entrepreneurship, and we always use the term a new emerging discipline. And it's because it's sort of at the early stages right now. Anybody who's asking questions about spiritual entrepreneurship, we're one of just a few incubators around the country. It's sort of at what's known as the innovation curve. We're at the very beginning. We're part of the early adopter group. But at the same time, every time I feel like we talk about it or we speak about it or just enter into dialogue about it, this concept really resonates with a lot of people. And I think it's because we all know we're in the same boat, and it's a very precarious one to be in. And churches are running very differently than they used to. People are entering into ministry for different reasons. And people just have a lot of questions: how to move the church forward, how to move conversations on faith in God forward. In the 21st century, what does that look like? And so what we've done at Hatchery, as you know, is take two things in particular and kind of merge them together, as you were talking about. And one of those is innovative theology and lean methodology. So innovative theology being our basically our theological framework for which we move forward. And it's not about holding a particular theology that we tell you have to hold to or that we ascribe to, but really asking you to take the theology that you've always held, your God framework, and innovate it and iterate it to move it forward in ways that are meaningful and significant for how we live out our humanity in the 21st century.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the root ideas in the whole notion of entrepreneurship is risk. I mean, when you're talking about being an entrepreneur, you're actually talking about taking risks, sometimes calculated risks, and sometimes just leaps of faith. But either way, there's risk involved, because an entrepreneurial venture is really about investing in an unknown future.
Yeah.
And so we have a sort of very specific agenda without an agenda. So when we talk about innovative theology, we're not trying to lay our own particular ideas or ideological constructs upon people. That's not really the point. We're not saying, oh, here's the way you should think about everything and this is how you should make interpretations. What we're really saying is everybody has to rethink their theological framework as much as they rethink everything else. And usually I found over the years, as I've been involved in all kinds of levels of engagement with church and mission and church planting and stuff like that, people usually go for form over content. You know, they tend to think, well, if we do something really cool, that'll reach people, you know, and we sort of break things down into demographics, and we go after specific people groups, and we do all this kind of stuff. But theologically, not much is different. And one of the sort of claims that we make is that theology has to evolve and develop in the world it finds itself in as well. Theology isn't static. It's not this kind of pre-packaged set of ideas that you just transpose into a situation. It's about engaging with the tradition in new ways, because we live essentially in a new world. So we sort of take theology and we think about how we might innovate theologically. We think about how then we also might take the form, church or mission or whatever idea that somebody has, and how to apply lean methodology, which is basically waste minimization. in the sense, you cut the fat off, you get down to the roots. So in some ways there's a synchronicity between the theology and the lean methodology, in that both of them are trying to get down to the sort of bare base essentials to find out what it is that we really need to move forward, and then maximize that, and then help people find ways to realize that vision. So that's really what we did the last time we went out on the course. So and that's what we're about to do again in September.
And the course is actually an introductory level to all of these things. So it's 12 weeks, and each week we cover a different topic. So the first 3 weeks is really all about redrawing the map, right? And Barry and I did that, and the first week is really all about the state of affairs of religion in the West. What does it look like? Where are we at this stage in the game with Christianity and faith in the 21st century as it stands right now? What does that landscape look like? Why is it shifting? How is it shifting? What's enacting upon it? What do we need to know about it as we continue to engage faith as leaders? The next week after that is really about the changing cultural context, because that also really enacts on how we do church and how we engage God and how we engage ourselves and community. After that, we talk a little bit about the changing economic realities, because that's huge. I mean, I think one of the main concerns, I'm sure you would agree, and there are a lot of concerns, but I think one of the main concerns is that the money is drying up within.
Yeah, I mean, you know,